Right, product review time again. Now, if anyone's been following along, you'll notice I've been trying to do some work on my project cards this summer. I say trying because it's not going very well because all the batteries keep going flat. Decided to do something about that. Alright, bit of background first before we get fully into it. I do, of course, already own a battery charger. The problem I'm having is it's not actually charging. So this is my old one, which the keen-eyed amongst you will notice it's very similar to the last one. It's another Halfords up to 1200cc battery charger. I've had this, years, 15 bloody years maybe. At the time I had a 1.2 litre car, so that made perfect sense. Now the smallest I have is a 1.4, and then I've got two 1.6s, a 1.6 diesel, and then a 2.3 petrol. Now the engine size doesn't necessarily mean that much to a battery charger, but the long and short is this isn't charging. I had it connected up to the Mini, which doesn't have the biggest battery in the world, for nearly 48 hours, and it still wasn't above 12 volts. It was at like 11.1, and then when I disconnected it, it dropped down to about 10. And when I took it off, and I basically did a bench test, so I just plugged it in, then ran my multimeter across these two with no other load on it, it's only putting out 11.4 volts. So it's never going to charge a battery. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to discard that. I'm not throwing it away. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it. The internals of a battery charger, whilst there are no moving parts, I'm 99% certain they're beyond my capability to fix them. Even if I did, it's probably not a good idea. So if you do it wrong, you'll end up with fires and dogs living with cats, and yeah, nothing good will come of it. What I might do with it is turn it into a sort of low voltage transformer for, small electrical projects in the future. Basically I'll have a 12 volt supply on a test bed for whatever I'm doing. Could be quite handy for it. But yeah, anyway, so we got rid of that. In fact, actually, before we throw it out of the way and move on, I'll show you what I mean with it. We'll plug it in. I've got my extension lead down here. Don't let those touch. Nothing good will come of it. So that's plugged in. The little power light is on. It blinks on the camera, but it is on constant in real life. And I'll try this out. You'll watch, it'll be putting out more power now. But it was definitely only in the low 11s when I was testing it. Yeah, 11.05. It's not enough. You need to be charging. An alternator will charge at around about 13 to 14 volts. A battery charger should be doing about the same. That's not enough. It's a 12 volt battery. You need to be putting more in it to bring it up. So that's gone. I don't know what's happened to it, but it's not doing its job. So we've had to buy a new one. This one, now, that's what it says, petrol and diesel vehicles up to 2 litre. I do have a 2.3, but yeah, whatever. Should be close enough. Automatic battery charger, so it's got a few extra features with it. Yeah, you've got different types of battery it says it can handle. It has a polarity check in case you plug it in the wrong way around. The automatic bit is once it detects that the battery is fully charged, it then goes into sort of trickle charger mode. It just maintains the level rather than continuing to just pump electricity in, because then you risk overcharging. So it says on here, yeah, suitable for up to 2 litre, not suitable for start-stop. The reason being is these start-stop ones, they generally have what's called AGM batteries, and you need a special type of charger for them. One of my cars is start-stop. If I'm honest, if I end up having to charge that battery up on a regular basis, I'll just buy a new one for what it's worth, because it's not worth cocking around with it. And 15 hours charge time based on a 60 amp hour battery. I've no idea. I didn't bother to check what the amp hours are on my batteries, but bollocks to it. And that'll be from stone dead flat. Some of them still do have some charge in them. That's what we've got in typical, bright orange Halfords box. That sign art just says the same, and that bit. Oh, look on the back. There we go. Suitable for all 12 volt automotive lead acid batteries and deep cycle leisure batteries, including most gel types. Not suitable for start-stop batteries, electric vehicles or golf carts. Can you imagine someone hooking this up to their Tesla? Fucking hell. Fucking idiots. A quick start guide with the unit unplugged. We'll read that later. It says, once again, not suitable for start-stop or AGM batteries. Consult your vehicle handbook. Blah, 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 blah. Chargers should be disposed of in household waste, but return to your... yeah, so basically recycle it. Primary 230 volts AC, 50 Hz, 110 watts. Secondary or output 12 volt DC. In reality, it probably should be doing a little bit more than that. Standard setting is 8 amps, or sealed setting 3.7. I don't really know much about batteries, but I suppose if it's sealed, it should probably be lower. And yeah, here we go. Maximum battery capacity 120 amp hours. That's a big ass battery. Minimum of 20. I mean, that's basically a set of double A's. Cable length 1.3 meters. Okay, so that's the packaging. Yeah, contact us, Halfords, blah, 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 blah. So, alright, let's pull it out of the box and see what we get in it, shall we? Right, here we go. So, let's pull this out like this. I have to note, whilst it's the same sort of design, it is bigger and considerably heavier than my other charger. What's this? That's just packaging. That's all just sort of been keeping it in place. Fair enough. That's actually reasonably appropriate packaging. That's just to stop this getting damaged if the box is dropped. It's cardboard, it's recyclable, and there's not that much of it. And the box itself is just cardboard. In a bit of a bag. I suppose they're thinking warehousing. You don't want moisture getting into something like this. Okay. We'll let them off on the packaging front. That's perfectly appropriate packaging. And all of it recyclable. There we are. Yeah, that is... I mean, I don't really know how to put weight across on the camera. I can't be bothered to go get a set of scales for it. But it's a fair bit heavier. And there's the old one, look. All of them next to each other. Yes. You can tell there's definitely more gear in this. So, nice carry handle. Ooh, rubberized handle. It's alright. The other one doesn't have that. The other one still has its bit of string on it, or it did until recently. No, it's still got it. For the instructions, let me see. Instruction manual. Please read and understand these instructions prior to using the charger and keep safe for future reference. Safety instructions. Wear protective glasses and turn your face away when connecting or disconnecting the battery. I'm guessing they're thinking in case it blows up. It's basically, don't cock around with car batteries. Battery acid is corrosive. If acid comes in contact with the skin or eyes, rinse immediately with plenty of water and seek medical advice at once. Yeah, because it's going to melt your face off, that's why. Do not use this charger on batteries that may be internally defective. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is precisely what I intend to do. Oh, it tells you the difference between standard and sealed. Have removable caps allowing the battery acid levels to be checked. After following the battery manufacturing instructions to ensure correct acid levels, set the battery switch to standard. Have no removable plugs and therefore battery acid levels cannot be checked. Set the battery charger to sealed. Now, it's already on sealed. I don't know if that's intentional or not. But I'm fairly sure all of mine are sealed, so it's going to be staying on that one. Which unfortunately means it's going to put less amperage through it, but that's still better than it blowing up. Operation. Once you have checked the correct battery connection, you can start charging by connecting the charger to the main supply. The charging LED light should glow yellow, indicating that charging has commenced. If there is no light, then it probably means that you have connected the battery clips incorrectly. If so, the polarity check LED will glow. Remove the charger from the main supply and reconnect the battery clips correctly. The yellow LED charging light will glow until the battery reaches full charge, at which point the green ready and maintaining LED light comes on, indicating that the charger is in maintenance mode. The charger will monitor the state of charge of the battery and switch between charge and maintenance modes to protect the battery. The charger is designed to be left connected to the battery for extended periods. However, the battery and charger must be regularly monitored and not left on charge while you are away on holiday or away for long periods. No, I bet people do that, you know. Think, oh, I don't want a flat battery. I'll leave the battery on charge while I go away for 2 weeks. Come back and the fucking house is burnt down or something. I bet people have done that. I mean, I once fell asleep and left a battery charger on all night, and I felt like a fucking idiot for doing it. But that's basically it. Connect it up, plug it in. Don't cock around with batteries and battery chargers. Well, a quick look at the features of it. So that's our switch for seal. It's life on sealed with me. I've got these LEDs. Different layout, but they're the same size and probably going to be the same brightness as the old one. The other one doesn't have the check polarity one. It just had a fuse that blew if you did that wrong. Not that I ever did it wrong, because I'm not a fucking idiot. And like I said, it's quite weighty, a fair bit bigger, but it's not massive. I remember battery chargers of old were big old things, you know, they were like this. But, yeah, this is actually still quite reasonably sized. Right, I'll look at here. So, standard mains plug, same as the other one, it sort of tucks away in there for easy storage, which is quite nice. And I won't unspool it now, but that looks like a decent length of wire to it as well. I think it said 1.3 meters. And then the other side here, again, they took away, they look to be the same clips as the other one. Yeah, they are, exact same size and everything, just a bit newer and shinier. Okay. At least I know I can use the old one for spare parts if I ever have to. And they took away neatly in there. Stick them in that way. Right. It's a simple product, really. There's, like I say, these things don't really have moving parts. You've got a switch on it, plug, connectors. You plug it in and let it do its job. What we're going to do, we are going to take it outside to one of the cars, and, well, actually, you know what, we'll do it on all three, because, you know, there's no mad rush. Yeah, start with one of them, check the battery voltage before we start charging, and then we'll leave it to run until that gets to green, and we'll see how long it takes for each one. They're all different types of battery. Yeah, we'll see how well it does. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and watch it, so it's not going to be the most precise thing in the world, but, you know, we'll check it every hour or so for each one and see how well it does. And then in theory, if it's doing its job right, each of those cars will start. You know, when that gets to green, the battery's ready, the car will spin over and start perfectly well if it's doing its job right. So yeah, let's get outside and let's go do that. Ooh, one other thing we can do before we go outside, let's check the voltage on this thing. See what it's putting out. I'm expecting the voltmeter to read, well, over 12 volts, because that's what it's supposed to do. Get out. If it reads 11 like the other one, then I'm going to be pretty fucked off. Right, so what have we got here? Right, oh look, it's blinking on the camera again, but yeah, the power light is on solid. Let's get our voltmeter out. It's possible this won't give us any reading. I mean, I don't know how smart this charger is. If it realises it's not connected to a battery, it may not put anything out. I'll move that so you can see it. Yeah, so we get minus 0.7. Change it over to sealed. Minus 0.6. 0.62. The little yellow charging light doesn't come on either. Alright. I get the feeling there's an extra. The old one just used to put out power as soon as it was plugged in. I get the feeling this won't do that unless it knows it's connected to a battery, and this clearly doesn't convince it of that. I suppose we'll find out when it goes on the car then. Right, here we go. So we've come out to, this is the Corsa, the oldest of my project cars. I thought I'd start with this one, well, because it's reached a stage where I just need to try and start it, but the battery's flat and there's no fuel in it. We've got the fuel, but the battery's flat, so we may as well start with this one. I have two other project cars, the batteries are flat on those as well. I thought, screw it, start with this one. And I apologise for the wind noise. It's It's actually really quite breezy out here at the moment, which makes a nice change because the last few days it's just been hot, like unreasonably fucking hot. So what we're going to do, we're going to test the voltage first. So we've got a starting point. I've left me fucking voltmeter inside. Also it's a multimeter, stupid twat. Okay, right, so we are on. Let's get that in shot, shall we? So you can see it yourselves. You probably can't see that because of the glare. Try that. There we go. So this is on currently 2.9 volts, which is not enough. Now that's a point. These are standard, you can only get them that far apart, which is only just wide enough. Fortunately, you can pull them like that, only down to there. I wouldn't recommend pulling them any further, but yeah, you can just pull them and they'll just split apart and they come a lot further apart. Now the positive terminal is disconnected. That I haven't done that for the purpose of charging it. I was working on the fuel system a few days ago, and that's just for safety. There's only 2.9 volts in it, but you only need a small spark, and when you're working with fuel vapours, and well, you'll be warm for the rest of your life. Now I'm sure we would be able to charge it with everything still connected, but it's off, so screw it, it can stay off. Now, as the instructions said, we're going to set this to sealed, because it is. There's no caps on it for opening up. As it says, maintenance free battery. So yeah, set it to sealed. It is plugged in the correct way. So we'll just plug this end in. We should see some results. Okay, that's a little confusing. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. The power light is on, and it did originally say charging for a few seconds, but then it's immediately gone to ready and maintaining. Well, how can it be doing that? Let's check what power we're getting across it. We're only getting 10.5 volts across it. Why is it doing that? Right, okay. It now says charging. Not a good start. Is really picking up. I think it's going to rain, which is great when you're trying to test an electrical product outside. So now it says charging. Let's check the voltage now. It's still only 10.7, which is less than the old one that we're getting rid of. Alright, we're going to leave it because it's obviously doing something. I don't know, maybe as the voltage comes up it puts more out. I don't know, it's an automatic one. We'll give it an hour, we'll come back, we'll see what it does, and then we'll give it another hour and another hour. It does say on here up to 15 hours charge time depending on the battery. Yeah, it may not fully charge it today, but we'll see. We'll come back in an hour and we'll disconnect it, check the voltage on the battery. It was 2.9 to begin with, and we'll check what this thing's putting out. If if we give it all the time it needs and it's still only registering 10 volts, and we know this is faulty as well, it can go back. Still got the receipt. So yeah, back in an hour. Okay, right, it's been an hour. Actually, it's a little bit more than an hour because I fell asleep at my desk editing a different video together, and I was woke up by the timer, but I have no idea how long the timer that I'd set had actually been going. Probably quite some time. So let's give it a test. Now it's still showing as charging, which is good, and there's not actually that much heat coming out of it either, which is also good. The other one used to get really quite warm. 12.4, looking good. I get the feeling where this says automatic, it doesn't just switch to maintenance mode once it reaches a certain voltage. I think it starts off at a low voltage being put through and builds it up which is clever, really. It also explains why we didn't get anything without it being connected across earlier, so yeah, that's quite good. Let's unplug the battery charger and we'll check what voltage the battery is up to unassisted. 11 volts, falling slowly, which it will do when you first take it off charge. We could stand here for a good 20 minutes or so and watch that come down. But so far so good. Let's give it another hour and then see where we are. Right, it's been another hour. Let's try again. So what we're on now. Okay, still at 12.3. Unplug it and see what we get. A little higher than it was and dropping steadily as they do. Okay, what's probably done is brought it very quickly up to a particular voltage because there's power going through it, but it needs the time to bring it up that last bit. It's only been a couple of hours. These things take time. I mean, it could well take 10 hours or 15 hours as it says on it, but yeah, we'll let it carry on. Plug it back in. Back in another hour. Right, another hour. It's actually been a little longer than an hour. 1 hour and 5 minutes because I was having a shit. Don't know why I said that. At least I'm honest, I suppose. Fuck it, we'll leave it in. Okay. So, same as last time, 12.3. Unplug it and check. 11.4 and dropping. Okay. We'll keep it going until it starts getting dark. We've got all day tomorrow as well. I think we're reaching a point where we may just have to accept that this battery needs replacing. Right, another hour. Let's check again. 12.22. It's actually going down. Curious. 11.46. That bit of it's creeping up. I think it's safe to say the battery charger's doing its job. It's just that this battery might be fucked. Give it a fair chance. We'll give it however long it says in the instructions and see if it can fully charge this battery. I think it will. It's just going to take it a long time. I suppose only time will tell. Right, check back in an hour. Okay, another check. Oh, we've left the voltmeter inside. Right, another check. Been another hour. Let's see how it goes. That wind's picking up again. 12.38. So unplug it. 11.6 and dropping. Okay. So the battery itself is gaining, even if the actual output from this isn't. I reckon, like I said, as the battery climbs, this is gonna start putting out more power. Right, check back in another hour. Right, well, this is a bit of a cock-up. I've gone and let it get dark. Dearie mate, how do we get the... Oh, bloody hell. Right, let's try this again. That's better. Turn the torch on. Yeah, I let it get dark because I was having dinner. I'm going to do one final voltage check before we unplug it for the night, because it says in the instructions it is designed to be left connected for extended periods of time, but not unsupervised. It gives examples like, don't go away on holiday and leave it connected whilst you're away. Duh. I'm going to say I don't want this connected overnight. I have left battery chargers on overnight, but it's not the best idea. We'll just do one more voltage check before we disconnect it for the night. Look at that, that's gone up a bit. 12.47. Unplug. 11.7. Actually, we'll give it another hour. Partner goes to work on the night shift in an hour, so we'll recheck it then. We'll see where we are with it. Right, I went and did the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, and forgot to disconnect the battery charger. So it's been on all night, so it had however many hours we gave it yesterday, plus another 12, which means, yeah, we're well beyond this 15 hours charge time. So let's see where we are. 12.95 with the charger on. Let's disconnect. 12.4 and dropping off. Alright, give it a little bit longer and then we're going to move it over to the other two cars and see how it does on those. Another couple of hours. I'm getting a bit tired of checking this now. We'll get the other cars charged. Let's see how we go. Oh, look at that, over 13, which is what I was expecting of it the first time round. 12.55. Coming down, obviously. That's about where you would expect a healthy battery to be. Let's keep going. I'm going to give this the rest of the day, you know, and see if it will get there. The old battery charger did it once by leaving it overnight, so I'm expecting this to be able to do the same. Whether or not the battery will stay at the charge that we put into it, I seriously doubt. We'll keep going. Right, it has been, I don't know how long it's been now, about 2 days, call it 48 hours, and it finally shows green. And that's ready and maintaining. Right, okay, let's we'll do a voltage check and then we're going to move on to the next car for it to charge. Multimeter's inside again. There we go, 13.59. It's good, that's about what you should see when the car's running on the alternator. That's a good voltage for keeping one of these batteries charged. Let's disconnect and see where we are. Okay, 13, and that will settle down. That will just drop continuously. I'm 99% certain that this battery is knackered, so 48 hours to charge a faulty battery from completely flat. Can't really blame it. We're going to move on to, we're going to do the Mazda. That's a much smaller battery, and to my knowledge is still a good battery, but it is completely flat. I think the car is exerting a drain on it, because when a battery is faulty, it will normally drop to a certain voltage, like 4 volts, and then stay there, because the cells inside, one of the cells is gone. But they very rarely drop to pretty much 0. I think it was on 0.3 or 0.03 volts, which indicates that there's a drain on it rather than it being a faulty battery. So, but the reason I want to test it for this is it says it can do a full charge on a 60 amp hour battery in 15 hours. So let's see if it can do it. Battery's in the boot on this. .53 we're starting from. Now one thing, this has been on all that time and there is a very slightly warm bit in the middle. Other than that, there is next to no heat coming out of this thing at all, which is also good because with this you have to leave the charger in the boot. Right, we may have found a bit of an issue with it here. It's all connected up, it's plugged in, and you can see the power light is on, but it's not charging. I think because this battery is so low on power, the charger doesn't know it's connected to anything, so it's not putting out any power. The question is, what do we do now? We're actually getting an even lower voltage across it now that the charger's connected. Oh, what happens if I change it to that? No difference. Alright, turn it off and on again. Try it again. See, it's getting power to it, it's on. There is a buzzing from inside. The electricity is not going to the battery. Alright, we'll give it a few minutes. That might be a bad mark for this charger at this point. Right, so it's been half an hour, and as you can see, No change. Yeah, it's almost like it doesn't know it's connected to anything. It's getting a bit warm as well, which is interesting. We'll do a quick voltage check and see what we're on. Exactly the same as before. Alright, we'll go and put it on the Mini instead. We'll do some research, see if there's any way to kick-start this into life, but at the moment, that's not looking good. Right, this is the Mini. This is a different battery again. What was it? 504. Ah, look. 60 amp hours, which is, yeah, precisely what this is rated for. Okay. So, we'll do a quick starting voltage check, then we'll get it connected up. We'll see how well it does with this. This one, I haven't driven this car for a long time, so I think the battery's still okay, it's just flat. We'll have to see. I suppose we'll find out. Yeah, let's give it a go now. This one, you'll notice as well, is already disconnected. Oh, turn the multimeter on. And it's already disconnected because, well, the alarm kept going off. So I just disconnected it entirely. And I was also trying to get charging it with the old charger. It wasn't doing it, so 8.32 we're showing. This should be a much easier job for it, assuming it's a good battery still. That's about as high as the old battery charger could get it. This battery is the reason we've bought a new battery charger. Yeah, let's get it connected up and we'll see how well we go. That's to be said, these crocodile clip connectors, they don't look like much, but they do fit perfectly on all of the batteries, which is nice. Right, so it's coming straight on, straight to the charging cycle as well, which is good. That's what we wanted. Do a quick voltage check before we leave it alone. Putting out 12.03 or 4. Good. Most positive one so far. So it looks like when you have a healthy battery that's just a little bit flat, this works brilliantly. The faulty one, it struggled with because it's faulty. I probably shouldn't have charged that in the first place. But if it's completely flat on the Mazda, you're fucked. Right, leave it to it. Right, well, it's been not even an hour, like 45 minutes, and we are showing ready and maintaining. Let's do a quick voltage check. I wasn't expecting it to come on so quickly, so we're going to have to do this one-handed. Stick that in there. And look at that. I'm going to go get the keys to this, see if she'll start. Right, let's give this a go. Don't know what that's complaining about. Something tells me there might be more going on here. Okay, that didn't work. The battery voltage, I reconnected it, went to start it, and it's in the time it's taken me to do that, it's back down to 8.3. I think that's a fucked battery for it to have gone down that quickly. We're going to disconnect it, recheck the voltage, just in case there's a drain in the car that's doing it. But even if there was, it still shouldn't have dropped that quickly. We'll try charging it. We'll recharge it, because evidently it doesn't take very long. We'll recharge it, leave it disconnected, and then see what the voltage drops to. If it's just losing charge without being connected to anything, then it's definitely fucked. But in terms of the performance of the battery charger, it's doing well so far. Right, back on. Interestingly, with it disconnected, the voltage had gone back up to 10. It still shouldn't be that low that quickly. We'll just double check it with this connected. So, oh, getting tangled up. I'm having to do this one-handed again, because the tripod is in use on my other project. Yeah, charging at 12.7. we'll let it charge it back up and then we'll leave it disconnected for an hour or two. If the battery's losing voltage, just sitting there, not connected to anything, then we know it's fecked. Looks like that's 2 batteries I'm going to have to buy. Well, it's been a couple of hours and it's starting to get more and more confusing now because it's still charging. Earlier, the battery charger somehow reckoned it was done at the 45-minute mark. And now, after 2 hours, well, 2.5 hours, it's still going. We're showing 12.2 volts with it connected. Take it off, it immediately drops to 10 volts, declining slowly. I know, Muffin. Muffin's here with me today. Bella didn't want to go outside. Say hello, Muffin. Yeah. So, I'm wondering now if perhaps the battery isn't duff, and that earlier we were just getting a false ready indicator. So, and now it's actually doing a proper charge cycle. We'll stick to the plan. We'll let it get to green, and then we'll leave it disconnected. Probably leave it overnight and try again in the morning. If it's still got charge, yeah, we'll try it again. It may be that it holds charge whilst it's not connected. As soon as there's any sort of draw on it, it just shits itself. It may still be knackered battery. And what I've done so far is, you can see the extension lead running down there. I've put the old manual charger on the Mazda. We'll let that put a little bit of charge into it, and then we'll see if this one can take over. That's if it's done with this. This was supposed to be a product review, and instead it's just me. Yeah, thank you, Muffin. This was supposed to be a product review, instead it's me just getting confused by this thing not behaving itself. Just fucking great. Alright, we'll check back in an hour or two. Right, well, this review's going well so far. As you can see, it's still showing us charging. It's been 24 hours since I left it there. It should have charged this by now. Now, it's possible that it has gone green and then the charge in the battery has dropped quicker than it could maintain it, so then it's flicked back over onto orange. But I've been sort of poking my head out the window and checking on it every now and then throughout the day, and it seems to have been orange throughout. And it's a 60 amp hour battery, and that's exactly what it's designed for, to fully charge it in 15 hours. It hasn't been able to do it, not even close. We'll do a voltage check. We'll take it off and we're going to put it on the Mazda instead. We might actually get a decent test out of this thing. With the charger on, we are at 12.05. It has been showing higher than that. I did check it earlier but didn't film it. But yeah, that's what it's on at the moment. Let's whip the charger off. It's just immediately down to 10.7. Should be higher than that. We'll leave it there for a minute. What we'll do is we'll get this hooked up to the Mazda. We can get a proper charge in that, and we'll come back and test the voltage on this. If it's dropped even further than that, just confirms that's a fucked battery. It's not the first time. And then we can disregard, because there's no way we can expect it to charge such an obviously faulty battery. So what I did here was left this on charge with this battery charger, the old one, for a couple of hours last night, and then took it off. The idea was it would put just a bit of charge in so that the automatic one would then start working. Let's check the voltage, see what we're on. 11.97, which is low. Well, it's low if you're trying to start the car, it's high if you're trying to do a battery charger test, but cock it. This is a 40 amp hour battery. So this should have no problem at all charging up this tiny battery. See, charging light is on, which is what we like. Charging at 12.3 volts. We'll leave that to charge for a little while. Let's go and test the mini battery. Right, so it's been 5 minutes because I had to go inside, get another extension lead, retrieve something from the dog's mouth that shouldn't have been there, come out, set up the tripod and lay my extension lead across the drive. Let's just see what we're on now. 10.47. It should be higher than that. This battery charger should have charged that by now. It's exactly the size it's built for. It's had 24 hours and it claims it can do it in 15. Well, it's had more than that, in fact. You know, it's had closer to 30 hours. It's fucked. We'll write that off as a test. I can't hold that against the battery charger. It's not taking charge. That battery is shagged. It needs to come out and be replaced. Also, the length of time it took to charge the Corsa battery, I said, well, I can't remember if I said, but that battery came out of a BMW X5, the Mark 1. And they had between a 3 and a 4.8 litre engine, depending on what one you bought, which is way and above what that charger was designed to charge. So again, not really a fair test, but it did it. Took it a long time, but it did do it. I'm going to say 1 non-result, not really a fair test. 1 good result, because I was asking it to do something it's not designed to do. And then we've just got to wait, see what it does with the Mazda battery, and then we can call that it. This test has gone on far too long. We're like day 3 now. Right, let's have a look. Interesting. It's been half an hour, still showing us charging. Alright, give it a bit longer. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, we'll do a voltage check. 12.88. 12.5 and settling. That's it, it's nearly there. Check it again, another half hour. Right, okay, it's 10:30 at night, and I'm just coming out to turn this thing off, and it's still not showing us charged. Let's do a quick voltage check. There we go. 13.1. I'm going to turn this off, and I think we're going to have to conclude that whilst it is a capable charger, that whole yellow and green light thing is utter bollocks, because it clearly isn't. It's clearly incorrect. Unplug that. And for one, I've unplugged it, and it still thinks it's charging until I disconnect it, look. Right, what we'll do is we'll try the engine. Central locking's working. Let's see if she starts. Looking good. Turn the heater off. There we go. Good strong turnover and everything. Right. I don't know what to make of that. We'll have a think, then we'll draw us conclusions. Okay, right. Time to summarise on this thing. I'm not sure what to make of this. I'm really not. Is it a capable charger? Yes, yeah, it absolutely is. It's charged, well, it charged 2 batteries. One of them was faulty, so we can't blame it for that. Yeah, will it do the job? Yes. The problem I have with it is these 2 little lights here. Yeah, this whole thing of, oh, it'll be orange once it's charging, and then once it's green, it's ready to go. It didn't seem to work. I mean, we tried it on 3 cars. We started with the Corsa. Now, it did charge that battery. It took it a lot longer than it said it would, but that battery is a lot bigger than even this larger charger was designed for. That battery, as I keep saying, came out of a BMW X5. They had like something like between a 3.5 and a 4.5 litre engine. You know, and this is all designed for up to 2 litre. That's obviously a much bigger battery, but it did do it. And eventually it did go over to the ready and maintaining option. Just had to be left on for like 2 days. It did do it. We then moved on to the Mini. Now, the Mini, we can discount the results from that because it turns out that battery is faulty. Even after leaving this on it for 2 days, it still just would not take charge. We could get it up to 10, maybe 11 volts, but then as soon as we disconnected it, it dropped straight back down to 8. And that's without it even being connected to the car. So we can discount any results from the Mini because it's not a fair test. That battery is obviously knackered. It's kaput. The bit that annoys me is we then put it on the Mazda. Now, the Mazda, as with a lot of Japanese cars, has a really small battery. It's actually probably not any bigger than this charger. Now, it charged that up really quickly. It's only, this is, it says 15 hours based on a 60 amp hour battery. The one in the Mazda is only like a 20. So it charged it up in no time. And we were showing, like 13.5 volts across the battery. We disconnect it and we've still got like 12.8. It's fully charged. It's ready to go and the car starts brilliantly. But we're still stuck on the orange light. I left it on for an entire day, even though the battery is showing as charged, and we still never got into the green. And whilst we're on the Mini, even though that battery wasn't taking charge, it did flick over to green, in record time as well. It did it after a couple of hours, well, less than that even. But the battery obviously wasn't charged, so this whole bit here doesn't seem to be working properly. Granted, one was on a faulty battery, so that may have thrown it off, but then the battery in the Mazda is good and well within its capabilities, and yet it never got into the green, even though the battery was obviously fully charged. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. Will it do the job and charge a battery? Yeah, of course it will. Can you rely on what it says on here, on all the functions of it? No, you can't. The other thing that really annoyed me, this automatic side of things, this won't start delivering power unless it knows it's connected to something, which is fair enough, but the old charger puts out power regardless. Now, you may think, oh, well, this is the safer option. Yes, but the problem with that was the battery on the Mazda was completely flat, 0.3 volts, I think it was, or maybe even less. And this didn't recognise that it was connected to it. So what I ended up having to do was connect the old charger for an hour, put a little bit of charge into it, and then connect this to bring it the rest of the way. If this had been my only battery charger, I'd have been buggered, because it would not start charging. It didn't seem to matter what setting it was on or what I did or anything. It just would not start charging the battery. So, it says, 15 hours charge time from completely flat. It doesn't appear to be capable of charging a battery that's completely flat. It will refuse to do so, which is a big deal, really, because, you're then going to need a second battery charger to allow you to use this if you have a completely flat battery. And people might say, well, when are you ever going to have a completely flat battery? There's always a bit of charge left in them. Well, you try leaving your headlights turned on overnight and see how much charge you've got left in your battery then. Don't take long, a simple mistake and you might well be shagged, and this will be no help whatsoever. So that's the downsides of it. This bit doesn't work and it can't charge a completely flat battery. Upsides, it is a capable charger. And like I say, it did one battery that was way too big for it, and it did another one that was well within its capabilities and did it quickly, ignoring this bit. Whilst it was in use as well, my other one used to get really quite hot whilst it was charging. This thing, you couldn't detect any heat coming off it as I was handling it. It's clearly a very capable charger, and no excess heat coming out of it, so it felt like a safe product to use. I really like this handle at the top. It's got a nice rubberized bit to it. It's quite useful. It's not too big, so I could easily position it in an engine bay if I needed to, if it didn't quite reach to the ground. Yeah, you get a good length of wire on these clips here and on there. Yeah. Do I regret buying it? No, I don't. I needed a bigger and better battery charger. Having tested this, I think it's safe to say that there's actually nothing wrong with my other charger. I'm going to keep that now anyway. It's just that what I was asking it to do was well beyond it, so it was failing me, but I'm going to keep it. It's still a good charger. So I now have two battery chargers when I didn't necessarily need one, which is a bit annoying because I'm a tight ass. Anywho, that's not really the product's fault. I don't know whose fault. That's my fault. Fuck it, it's my fault. So yeah, would I recommend it? Yeah, sure. If you need a battery charger, I'd go with one of these, just with the advisory though that it won't charge a completely flat battery, and you may want to go for one that isn't automatic. Just get a cheaper model if it's capable. If you've got a small engined car, you don't need something this big. You don't need a fancy automatic charger. Improvements, yeah, this needs work. I mean, battery chargers of old used to have a little gauge on them. You'd have a little needle that went up so you knew when it was charged. You didn't have to rely on a light. Also, it could do with a button or a switch so it starts delivering charge no matter what. Say if you've got a completely flat battery, you need to be able to override this automatic bit. So I think marks out of 10, it's going to have to be a 6, maybe a 7. Yeah, just because of the problems we had with it. You know, with it not knowing whether it's charged or not, and it not kicking in when we wanted it to on the Mazda's battery. Those are big downsides. Those really affected its, you know, its performance. So, and it's a bit disappointing really, because otherwise it's a perfectly capable product. We'll give it 6.5. No, I'll give it 6.8 out of 10. Screw it, why not? Not much more to say about it. I think this is going to be one of those times where, you know, I normally finish on a high note, positive notes all round. I think I've done that in all my product reviews. This is the first one where I actually have something negative to say about it, and I'm not overly pleased with my purchase. I mean, would I buy it again? No. I mean, if you're just looking for a cheap charger, if you're in a tight spot, I'd recommend it to other people, but I'd say if you can buy something else, you know, if you can afford something a bit more expensive, a bit fancier, then go for it. Or if you don't need something like this, then go for an even cheaper option. Go for the smaller charger. It clearly works better. Alright, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video on Pidini doing stuff and filming it. Please don't forget to press the big button here in the middle to subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you liked what you just saw, please click the like button below and leave a comment letting me know what you liked about it. And as always, thank you for watching.